Hello, my name is Crystal Lachlan, and I am joining you today with Nicole Diavola. We're going to be focusing on essential oils for immune and respiratory systems. Nicole is an absolute pro at everything aromatherapy, essential oils oriented. She's a well-known healer in the Bay Area, specialist in yoga and other healing arts. And so I'd like to go ahead and hand it over to Nicole to walk us through. And it looks like we have just another individual joining, so we'll let this individual in. And just a reminder to everyone that we are recording this session for future playback. Okay, Nicole, take us into our experience.
Thank you so much, Crystal, and I'm just really happy to be here and be part of this wonderful community that you've created. So I'm going to share the screen and we'll get started with our talk for today. Put it here. All right. And so what we're doing today is the immune and respiratory support that I'm going to talk about with essential oils and some other tips as well. And just so you know, normally each of these would be its own separate topic, but right now we needed to talk about what was going to be our, what we wanted to give for you, time that we have. And everybody right now is super concerned about their immune system and secondarily their respiratory system. So I wanted to be able to give you as much of this information as possible. And so that's why I'm putting them together. So if it seems like a lot of information, just take a deep breath. I'm around. That's my job, is to mentor and educate people and help them, understand what they need to know to find the right natural solutions for themselves. So, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit about some of my own stories too, with dealing with immune and respiratory support and my own journey. And my goal is to empower you with natural solutions, just as I finally was empowered myself with these natural solutions. And so I have two things related, and one of it is that I tend to get a lot of congestion easily, whether it be from seasonal allergies or if I get sick with, flu or a cold, my system goes on overdrive, and then it ends up going into my respiratory system. So for me, that quality of life, that connection between the immune system and the respiratory system is really right together. So it does definitely make sense to put these two together. I was to the point where I had gotten bronchitis, I'd gotten pneumonia, and so then just any little cold or flu, they would then trigger this whole respiratory response that was overwhelming. It would keep me up at night, and I'd be coughing and have to prop myself up just so I could try to sleep a little bit. And I was needing to use, as needed, an inhaler. And the one that my doctor prescribed, my insurance company wouldn't pay for all of it. So it was costing over $100 a pop to use the inhaler. I was also then, because of this congestion, starting to get sinus infections, and sometimes would need to then get the antibiotics. And then you get the antibiotics, and then you need to treat your gut, and this whole cascade of things that cost me money, cost me time, and of course is no fun. And as you'll see, I'll point out some of the essential oils and some of the other things that I did to help, where I'm at the point where I don't remember the last time I got really sick. If I start to feel something, I go to my immune boosting kit and nip things in the bud. So I want to empower you with some of these same tools as we go through here. So what is the respiratory system to start with? So it begins in our nose, up here in the nasal cavity, goes down through the throat and into our lungs. So when we're talking about the respiratory system, we're really talking about any of these aspects. And so as you heard me talk about, I've had issues and the tendency with, the sinuses, there's the mucus in the nose, the dripping down the throat and into my lungs, creating the coughing and the breathing just wasn't as efficient. So I personally experienced my entire respiratory system not being happy and having some issues. So we're going to learn about some things that we can do to help our respiratory system today. The other challenges that we get, I've already talked about some of them, is this is just a beautiful time of the year. I know we're challenged in a lot of ways right now, so I hope you're getting outdoors, opening your windows. And as beautiful as all the grasses are and the trees and the flowers blooming, that for many of us can really be a challenge for us. And so normally this time, our seasonal threats normally would be more of these types, but more and more, even before this very unusual year, because people are traveling around the globe all the time, again, not at this moment, but we tend to be exposed to some of those winter threats of the things from, that it manifests as the colds and the flus and the this and the that more often. And so we have a lot of concern about all of these different threats to our respiratory system and what that might mean for us. So it's really nice to have some of these inexpensive, natural things. So the first thing is we need to exercise. Exercise is so good for our respiratory system. That helps to, our lungs are just meant to be used, just breathing through, getting those full deep breaths, clearing the sinuses and breathing. And our respiratory system is healthier and stronger when we exercise regularly. And we can all, the main thing is pick exercise that you like, that you enjoy, the one you enjoy the most if you're a reluctant exerciser. For me, I like yoga and hiking. So I love everything about yoga, but I also really like to get outdoors and be in that fresh air and hike too. So those are my two choices. When I, don't have time and just need to be outside, just, a walk. I'm on a hill, so I walk down and back up. So I can actually get quite good exercise just from a walk around the block, so to speak. So whatever your exercise is, make sure that you are exercising regularly. The recommendation is like at least 30 minutes, 3 times a week, but I suggest you do something every day. I wrote the book 2-Minute Yoga. So even if it's 2 minutes of, moving your spine in all its directions, forward, backwards, twisting, all that, do some movement every day. Get some exercise and take some deep breaths. Real super important. So then the air we breathe, the quality of the air we breathe is part of this as well. So for example, pollution. So the outdoor pollution, so again, depending on where we live, we might be, more in a city environment where there's a lot more pollution, or near factories, or the indoor pollution that we have. People don't realize how many household products create indoor pollution. Everything from the new carpet that has these kind of chemicals and gaseous smells that are not so good for us, to the really old carpet that has the dust and what comes along with the dust, and that can also wreak havoc with our respiratory system. So being able to open the windows frequently, like in the wintertime, I like to keep warm, but like maybe I'm gonna be gone for a while, I'll open up all the windows and then close them when I get back and turn the heater back on, or at night is another good time to open up the windows. Whatever it is for the time of the year, your climate and your situation, trying to get some fresh air in. But also it's just, some of the household cleaners that we use, and we'll have another talk about that later this month, creates a lot of things in the environment. So we can actually, I would say, use the opening the windows, get as much fresh air in as we possibly can, but we can also use essential oils to help kind of negate the effect of some of those things that we might be breathing. So like Purify is this blend, it has citrus in it, for example, that helps to cleanse the air. Citrus is very cleansing. One quick thing you can do is when you've like peeled an orange, you can, and there's pros and cons to this, I've heard both ways, but I know, you know, your lemon, you put it in your garbage disposal, and that can kind of make, you know, your garbage disposal smell nicer. I've also heard those aren't the best things to, you know, they're better to put in your compost. But whatever you're needing, you know, you get in where you fit in. So having positive scents. Now, here's something I hope I'm not going to disappoint you with. Most of the candles with scent in them are chemical scents, so they're actually not good for a respiratory system. So unless, you know, it's like beeswax and an essential oil that is giving you that scent from the candle, it's chemicals. It's not good for your respiratory system. So I would suggest instead, because the candlelight can be very relaxing, is have an unscented candle, if you can't find a natural pure one, an unscented candle, and then your aroma of choice. So maybe, you know, in the bathtub, you're putting in your lavender, maybe you have access to peppermint or, you know, your own aroma, or the essential oils, which are so easy and inexpensive to use, just because you only need a drop or two. They're so powerful. They're so potent. So that's just, so I hope I didn't like upset anybody to say those candles are not good for your respiratory system. But the concept of having that aroma and having that candle light is beautiful. And so we want to keep that in our life for sure. So seasonal threats and environmental threats. If you were at our last webinar, and was recorded, so you can go back, we did talk quite a bit about lemon, lavender, and peppermint. Peppermint is all things that are uplifting. Lavender is all things calming. Lemon, all things cleansing. Just there's more to it, but just kind of as a little thing. And when you put those three together, they're really good for calming down our springtime seasonal threats, because the peppermint is actually energizing and clearing the air passages. The lavender is calming our system down and saying, like, you don't need to overreact. And then the lemon is just cleansing and helping our body to release and get it out. So they are really nice. And those are all things that you can get from your garden, from the grocery store, from the farmer's market, and get some benefit. The caveat, though, is if you can get the high quality essential oils, they are like 1 drop of peppermint is like about 30 cups of peppermint tea. So they're super strong. So they can really be more powerful. But if you don't have the oils with you right now, don't let that stop you from using what you can get, because it's still going to be helpful for you. And so I put the Breathe products up here because this is really what saved me money, what really changed my life in big ways. And I still use it now whenever I start to feel some of this congestion, because as I was saying, my body will really overreact, whether it's allergens or when I have a flu or cold, and just so much congestion. This Breathe has peppermint in it. It has some other good things for the respiratory system that I'll talk about in just a minute, some other oils, and it kind of calms things down. So it just will open up those air passages. So where I used to like start to feel this congestion in here, and like, oh no, I hope it goes away soon because I hate to take antibiotics. I don't have to do that now. I'm just using my Breathe, and it comes in different forms. But again, it has that peppermint, and I'm going to show you some of the other oils that are in it that comes from plants. So that was huge. And so then once I'm not as congested, then it's also not dripping down my throat and causing me to cough and then getting into the lungs, because then when the things get into my lungs and they get all congestion, that's when I used to have to go for the inhaler. So it is saving me so much time and money, and just makes me happy because I can breathe and take those nice deep breaths like I couldn't before. So a couple of the other ones, trees. Many of the trees are helpful. So eucalyptus and Douglas fir. I really like Siberian fir, for example. For some reason, my body just craved that for the last year or so, and I'm just healthier now. My body told me I needed it. So eucalyptus, again, you might be in an area where eucalyptus trees grow, and you can put like eucalyptus leaves, you could put peppermint leaves in a pot, boil them so you're getting a nice aroma, and then turn it down off and make, maybe put it in a bowl so it's not quite so hot so you don't get yourself too hot. But then you put that whole thing where you put the towel over your head and just breathe in the aroma. So you can either, if you have just, again, it's just like a couple drops of the essential oil or a whole bunch of leaves, a whole bunch of the plant, either way, and you can create that effect with the steam and with the oils from the plant. Oh my gosh, it just can be really nice. You can even do it in a cup, like maybe you don't have access to your stovetop or that big thing is you put it in the top and you just have your cup. I just don't have a cup with me, and you inhale and breathe that in. Just really refreshing to your system. So peppermint, I've been talking a lot about peppermint. Cardamom, that's a spice I love. You may have cardamom in your spice cabinet already. You can get it ground as well as you can get the whole peppers. I love that scent. You can use it in cooking, but I also like to use it in beverages. So I like to make my own chai tea, or even if I get a chai someplace else, I'm putting in my cardamom, my cinnamon, and getting the extra benefit from my essential oils with these flavors that I just really love. So same thing with peppermint. And these are really powerful oils. So if you're going to put them in a cup, only put one of each, and stir it up. And then you'll just smell that, and you'll see how powerful that is. And for some people, you might need to make it be a double-sized cup. If you saw that picture of me in the beginning, that double size, that's where I put my lemon for warm water. It's like 2 cups of water. It's because it's just such a big cup that you can use. So again, these are plants, herbs, things that we have hopefully readily available to you. I need to go to a farmer's market or your store or the health food store for the plants. And so talking about the health food store, it's really hard to find therapeutic grade essential oils because the plants can smell nice, but if they weren't harvested correctly, 80% of what you find on the market on the shelves have other stuff in them. In fact, maybe more than 80%, depending on where you're going. And we're trying to go natural here. We don't want to get something that says it's an essential oil, which maybe it has some essential oil in it, but it has a bunch of chemicals in it. We're trying to heal by getting rid of as many chemicals as we possibly can. And in terms, I think there's another slide about the internal use. So it's not every single one that is appropriate to use internally. So I just wanted to say that because that's one way I like to use it a lot. So I just want to tell you about that. So let's do a little recap of respiratory health so that we can then move on and talk about the immune system in our time together today. So respiratory health depends on exercise, so super important. Limiting the effects felt from the environment and seasonal threats. So limiting effects of seasonal threats, we're going to talk about some of those ones that typically we find more in the winter, but we're dealing with them more right now as well. And just, again, it's really hard to escape chemicals altogether. So whether it be those seasonal threats or environmental threats, the more we limit them, then the happier our body is. And then we can use the essential oils to provide that added benefit to really help our respiratory system just be so much happier like mine is right now and so much stronger. It's just super amazing. And saves me money too, which is pretty cool. So let's talk about now our immune system. So what does it do? It protects us. I like this picture of the shield. It is to protect us from when things get into our body so that we can fight it off. So we can do, prevention's the best medicine. We can be washing our hands a lot. We can be doing all the safety things we know we should be doing, particularly right now. But sometimes things get past the shield in our immune system then is what comes forward inside our body to help protect us. And we have parts, our immune system is throughout our body. So different parts of our body, and our gut is actually one of a very big part, help with that response to when something foreign that body's saying like, this is not good for us, that it's going to react to. And so we want to keep our immune system strong and healthy as well. Because as I said, I was also had gotten to this point, because I was the kind of person, mom, volunteering, working, and just burning the candle at both ends. I was not nice to my immune system. And so I've had to build it back up, thank goodness. And so again, there's several factors that are part of our immune system. So exercise, again, don't forget that exercise is super important always. Feelings of stress, and it doesn't say stress, but feelings of stress, because we are always going to have stress in our lives. And I know that you moms that I'm talking to right now, you have stress all the time. And so what we want to do is we want to learn new ways to react to that stress. It's the way that we respond to the stress and our feelings about the stress, because in everybody's life, stress is going to happen. And like you moms, I know that's just like daily things that you're dealing with. So the more that we can work on creating better ways to deal with it so that our feelings of stress are mitigated, the healthier our immune system is going to be. So not only are we just kind of happier, but our immune system is going to function better. Nutrition is big. I'm just going to like not even hardly go into nutrition today, because that could be a whole big topic. But just think about nutrition in terms of what you know is kind of just from your own mind, you know some things are better for us to eat than others. And then again, the essential oils can play a really big role. And the essential oils, which I didn't talk about so much last time, but I know this time, can help us with things like the exercise and the nutrition and those feelings of stress for sure. So let's remember, again, to promote our immune health, it is multiple things we need to work on. So, for example, when I first started using the essential oils for my immune health, I was still catching things, but what the oils did is they helped me manage the symptoms better. So I wasn't as congested. I wasn't coughing as much. It helped me to get over it sooner. And it took, a while, a little bit of time, because I had let my immune system, I just, wasn't nice to it for a long time. So I needed a little time to build it fully back up to get to where I am now. And like I say, those oils were from the very beginning a part of that journey for me, but I had to look at a lot of things. So exercise. So the oils can help us with exercise in a couple of ways, help to motivate us. So there are essential oils for motivating, again, to keep it simple, citrus can be very motivating, as well as the mint, because they're both uplifting fragrances. And then maybe we're feeling kind of achy. So maybe we need to look at some of the essential oils that help to reduce inflammation in our body. Maybe we need to look at essential oils that help our muscles feel better and our joints feel better. So there's a blend I use that I love. It's called Deep Blue. One of the ingredients is guess what? It's peppermint. So lemon, lavender, and peppermint are like amazing. If you only had 3 oils, get those. So you could put peppermint on like the back of your neck, kind of wakes you up. You could put on your thighs or maybe on your arms. Those muscles it helps actually get the blood flowing. So then we start feeling more like exercising. And when we're putting it on, what's happening? We're smelling it too. So we're getting that hit into our brain, goes right back in there, and can help us feel better about exercise and help us feel better after exercise if we overdid it. Stress. So it really limits the health of our immune system. So you probably didn't want to hear that. So I don't want that to stress you out, because what you're here for is to learn about ways to manage this stress so that your body is reacting when it needs to react, and it's saying, okay, just breathe and be calm, let's move on and move forward. And we have the essential oils that will help us with that. So fortunately, there's a lot. And so this is just a sample of some. So I like to work with people and find what works for them best. Just like medicines, sometimes one medicine works for us, but not another one. So for whatever reason, so that's like, well, my doctor says you need this one that your insurance isn't paying for, that inhaler, sorry, it's like over $100. Fortunately, we save money by using the oils, but sometimes we need to figure out which one works best for us. And also what's causing our stress might mean that we use a different one. So I'll just talk about these briefly. The Arbor Vitae, that little bottle up there, that's from a very old tree. It's kind of like of the redwood family. I don't use that all the time, but when I'm just like really feeling scattered, and I take that and I just take the lid off and breathe it in. I just breathe it in. Let me just grab one just to show you how easy it is. You just take the lid off and breathe, and I just feel it centers me right away. The deep breathing, that's a yoga thing that helps us with our stress too. So the oils help remind us to breathe. So that is helpful. Sandalwood, that's been used for eons for meditation and for focusing and calming. It's also really nice for your skin. So I like to put it, actually I put some on my skin before I meditate, and then I'm inhaling it and it's giving me all those calming effects. That little roller bottle to the left, tension blend, past tense. It's just like it says, like, oh, wherever you're feeling the tension, just get that roller bottle and roll on that tension to help you relieve that. Balance, just like it sounds, helps us to be more balanced, whether it's with our hormones or we're feeling too up or we're feeling too down or too confused. It has frankincense in it, which I talked about last time. Is if I have to only have one oil, it'd be frankincense. And this is the blend balance is less expensive than frankincense and can help to, especially in dealing with stress, emotions, a lot of the same things that frankincense has, because it has that in it, plus some other really powerful oils. Geranium. So again, geranium's one of those flowers you can have in a flower pot, outside a window or on your windowsill, maybe even if you've got enough sun there, or out in your garden. And again, just crushing the leaves and just inhaling that aroma is going to be so nice. Smelling the flowers, picking the flowers, and just seeing the beautiful bouquet of flowers in your home. So geranium is just a really soothing, gentle heart one. Patchouli, some people hate or love, so you pick who you are. Vetiver is a root one, so also very, very grounding. So this is just an example of some of the ones. And so you might already know just naturally what flowers or tree scents or things that you like, and that would help guide you into a good place for you to start. And I help people with that all the time. Sleep, sleep is huge. So inadequate sleep can decrease the immune health. It wreaks havoc in a lot of ways. So now don't panic. I don't want you to stress out about that, because I know as moms with little kids, as moms who have challenges with your children, that can be a real issue. So again, what we want to do is when we can sleep, we want to get the most sleep as possible. So I'm right now at the point in life where I can get hot flashes that can wake me up. So I want to make sure that, I'm using the oils to help me with my hot flashes, and that's big. But when it takes over, I want to go back to sleep as quickly as possible. So I've been using the balance and serenity that's on there. And I also use the breathe, because I can start to not sleep so soundly because I get the congestion. So those three I'm using actually right now a lot. And I'm using the clary sage. That's helping me with the hormones, but it's also a really relaxing one, as well as the sandalwood, as you can see, lavender, all things calming and relaxing. So again, finding for sleep is, again, one of those things. A little bit depends on why you're having trouble sleep. So sometimes people are having trouble falling asleep, and so certain essential oils might be more helpful. Some, it's their quality of sleep's not as good, so the breathe might be what's helpful for them. Or like I said, right now you can do what I was talking about earlier, like with the peppermint, and just clearing those sinuses at least before you go to bed. You can do that right away. Having, a little pure lavender sachet, under your pillow, beside your bed, any of these things. But depending on whether it's being woken up, waking up, sleeping soundly, again, we can play with which ones are going to work for us best, and we will find what works for us, because sleep is so important. And like I said, I get it. We all go through phases of life. I remember when I had my babies, you just have to wake up, but we want to sleep in between. Whenever we are sleeping, we want it to be sound and healthy sleep. So nutrition, like I said, it's so big. What I just want you to think of right now is just, what do you know is good food to eat, and what do you know is not good food to eat? And try to steer yourself more and more for you to eat the healthier foods, so not processed, try to minimize sugar, and then go for that fruits and vegetables and whole grains, the healthy proteins, nuts and seeds. And if you're eating meat, the lean meats that aren't processed. And then always supplementation can be a big asset as well. But that's all I'm going to say about it today. But if you want me to come back and talk more about this, I'm happy to. All right, so I mentioned I talk a little more about the internal use safety. So I'm going to grab this oil here. So unless the bottle of oil that you get has on it supplement facts, don't take it internally. It was not meant to be taken internally, either because the plant was just one, like the eucalyptus, I think, is one we inhale is really good, but we don't eat it, the eucalyptus leaves. This one's wild orange. So yeah, it's safe, and it doesn't have any additional chemicals in it. So you might see someplace else a wild orange bottle and it doesn't say supplement facts on it. Don't ingest it, okay? The other thing is people have different sensitivities. So I say some people might need to have less instead of more, like the really big cup of water, or put into little veggie caps, or like you saw that little bottle of the lemon, lavender, and peppermint. You can actually buy the pure oil in a little soft gel already. So you just want to be, I just want to make sure you understand we're not just, we're not just down an essential oil randomly. You want to make sure you're using it safely so you get the right effects. On Guard, I want to mention it because it's the blend of a lot of the different oils that are really particularly good for our immune system. So what I want you to think now of is pumpkin pie. Just inhale. Imagine pumpkin pie spices, the pumpkin pie spices. So this has in it cinnamon and clove. It has in it some wild orange and some other really delicious, yummy scents, essential oils that are the pumpkin pie family, I like to call it, right? So again, I like to ingest this in my tea. So I like to have a little cinnamon and cardamom. Remember we talked about cardamom is really good for the respiratory system, and the clove. Those are all, and cassia, really good spices. That what I want you to know is these are hot spices. Cinnamon is hot. The clove is hot. Peppermint is powerful. It's more cooling. So you want to be careful and test your system first. So you might want to just start with inhaling it. Also on the skin, you're probably going to want to dilute it and see how your system can handle it. Otherwise, you will want to have like a soft gel or put it in a gel caps, which again, that could be a class we have later. But in the meantime, again, think of, your spices, and you can be, cooking with spices more. That comes from the yoga and Ayurvedic tradition too, is that you really spice your foods well, and that's going to have a healing effect. So besides these pumpkin pie spices, a lot of the Italian spices, so if you have, especially fresh, but whatever you have in the herb, rosemary, oregano, thyme, those are super powerful for our immune system. So really, go for spicing it. So even if you like, I'm a busy person too. I try to buy the organic pasta sauce, right? but we can add additional things into it. So even if we don't have time to do the whole thing from scratch, add some of these powerful herbs in, or the essential oils. Just like one itty bitty drop in a whole big thing is all you need. So recap: the immune system battles infection to keep us healthy, and there are numerous factors that contribute to our immune health: exercise, feelings of stress, and nutrition, and essential oils. So I hope after today you see how the essential oils, how that sense of smell of using plants can really help us with our respiratory system and can help us with our immune system, and just, and then also help us exercise more, help us with that stress, help us with the nutrition, because a lot of what I didn't talk about was the essential oils can help us digest our food better, so that we actually, what we ingest, we're able to have it be the term bioavailable. Maybe you've heard that. So it helps us with our nutrition as well. And just the essential oils in and of themselves help us with our respiratory system and our immune system. And they really can save us money, can save us time. It can just make us happier, and help us deal with all the things we have to deal with that are in front of us in a better way.